Right?
I'm in presentation mode, so I won't be able to see. Or must I stop sharing for now? Or must I keep it there?
No, I think keep it there. Alrighty, everyone. I see it is 1 o'clock on the dot. Time to get started with this webinar we have in store for all of you today. So today we're joined by Mr. Quaid Singh Jam, who's CropLife SA's compliance specialist, and he will be leading the webinar today looking at waste management of pesticides. And this is going to focus on your commercial storage facilities and on farms. So it promises to be a very informative webinar. So please stay tuned for that, everyone. With that said, and before I hand over to Mr. Quaid Singh Jam, just a note for all CropLife SA members registered on the CropLife SA CPD system. The assessment for this webinar can be accessed via the CPD system under category 3. So following the webinar, at the conclusion of this webinar, all CropLife SA members registered on our CPD system can go ahead and complete what Quayne and I think is a very easy assessment. So I think that should work in everyone's favor. So yeah, everyone, without wasting any more time, let me hand over to Mr. Quaid Singh Jam to get us on our way. Quaid, over to you, buddy.
Thank you, Arish. And good afternoon, everybody. Just give me a thumbs up if everybody can hear me so that we can move on and we can go ahead. Okay. So everybody is fully aware of our waste management of pesticides on the commercial storage facility and on farm. And there are a few things that I want to cover within this. And the first one that I'm going to be looking at is at our stock forecasting and replenishment of this. And why we're doing this? Because this is the catalyst. This is where everything starts within our facilities or within our business as such, where we order stock or we make use of our stock ordering systems. And I do understand if it's your first time or your first year within the business, you have no history. It is basically from a zero base. And coming into your second or third year, we use our historical data and we start looking at this. But sometimes, nature throws us a curveball and we have a sudden outbreak of the fall armyworm or some pest hits us. And out of panic and a knee jerk reaction, we start ordering volumes of stock and we're not quite sure what we're looking at. Instead of it be a conservative amount, we go for the big amount so that we don't run out and we're too scared of losing the sales, and that is we do our bulk buys. Right. And the reason why I'm going down that, because this is purpose, because this is a contributing factor to our waste. So stock requirement forecast relies on, as I said, on your historical data, the demand modeling, whatever's happening out in the environment. And then the other thing that we need to take in consideration is lead time optimization. When does this product actually get to me? Especially if you're far away or remotely from the main centers as such. Looking at point number one at our historical data analysis, past sale trends form the foundation of most forecasting modules. And that is why it's imperative important, whatever system, that ERP system that we are working with, or even if we are still working on a manual system, our sales and our trends that we've got here, especially with the season fluctuations, as I said, but promotional material impacts, and then obviously product life cycles to be to predict what is the future demand of this product. So all of these needs to be taken in consideration when we are about to order our, and let's call it our season stock forecasting or replenishment as such. The demand forecasting model, quantitative methods, and we're looking at statistical tools like the moving averages or the analysis of the sales and trends of a particular season. As I said, if it's your first or second or third year, you would have this available, statistics available to you. The one thing that we can't do here is when we are looking, as I said, when there's outbreaks, and one doesn't necessarily forecast for that, but that would also be a push, that would also be a demand that would push out your required demand on certain products as such. So yes, on the demand forecast, you'll have your quantitative and qualitative methods, and the hybrid approach is when you use the combination of the two to give you that equal balance as such. The other one that I was referring to was in your lead time consideration. So please, supplier lead times is problematic. It has been problematic. We all know since COVID times how the delays were. We had now the recent shipping delays. We had things like the blockages in the Suez canals and all of these factors, all these logistical matters that has an impact on the stock that you want arriving in time with you. And especially if you run a JIT system, the just in time system, these have major impacts for you. And sometimes your stockouts are unavoidable, not because of poor planning, but because of external factors. We also know within South African roads and stuff, if there's some of our truck drivers are unhappy, and we have the various random wildcats or strikes happening, and that also impacts upon the stock that gets onto you, right? Then the other two points we got is economic order quantity, and then reorder points, where you will have automatic trigger points within your system when you get to a certain amount of stock that you would automatically trigger an order. Or if you do your stock inventory cycles or stock count, you will have a minimum order quantity there, and you'll automatically stock up. Sometimes these are predetermined, they are too high, and this would also then lead to stocks that is surplus, and I said, or too much of a demand, and you have not sold them in time, right? Real-time data integration, that is point number 5. These are more modern systems. It's an integrated real-time sales system that is built into your ERP system, where your stock system automatically gets updated as your sales progress. And you can have this as live. Some of these immediately is invoiced out. Some systems work with that. Once you have invoiced the stuff, your stock system gets updated, and these would then automatically flag for you stocks that needs to be ordered or not. So these are some of the tools that has been used. Is if your information is inaccurate with these systems, ladies and gentlemen, you are generating waste at the end of the day if you do not have your stocks sold off within that season. Especially if you have stocks that are supplied to you that has expiry dates within the next 6 months, and within your season time you've sold it out. It's been standing for 3 months. You've only have a 3 month span left of the product or your stock, and then you sit in the balance. What do you do with the stock? Do you get that sale? You don't get that sale. So this is why we are looking at specifically at your stock forecasting and replenishment practices, so that you can evaluate or reevaluate this and adjust your levels as it needs be, so that you're not sitting with surplus stocks at the end of the day and generating the unnecessary waste. Right. Sorry. Scenario planning and sensitivity analysis. And forecasting includes what if scenarios for the demand spike. So, as we know, there would be trends, especially where, as we said, if there's have been good rains or insufficient rains, or you're waiting still for the rains to come, you need to predict whatever stock you got. And these play also a factor within you. So we have also the weather phenomenon that will play a factor on your stock replenishment as well. And then, as I said, technology. I mean, and I'm going to look specifically at this at the second one with all your historical data. If AI-driven analytics are based within your formula or based in your ERP system, it will actually give you your predictions. It would give you your favorable stock scenarios. But what it does not do, it does not look at your current demand situation unless you create a scenario for it, for if there are outbreaks as such. So that is a factor that you still have to build into your system to actually look at something of the sort. Right. We're coming at the crux of this of our waste management now. So we are looking at the scenario where we are fully stocked at the present moment. We have all our stocks for the season. And what should we do? So we are looking at stock rotation in pesticide warehouse, where it's a critical maintaining product integrity for the regulatory compliance and environmental compliance. And I'm going to give you just a breakdown to this approach and what are we looking at and what does it mean to us at the end of the day. So the question is why stock rotation matters in our pesticide warehouse. And please, I'm referring to pesticide warehouses, and the same principle would apply for your on-farm warehouse as well. Even if you have a small if you're a crop advisor, small depot, big depot, the same principle applies for you, but you would adopt any of these that is most suitable for your operations. No use getting a multi-million rand big ERP automated system if you only have a few products as such. So please, whatever is suitable for your scenario, that is the most practical one that you would adopt for you or for your business as such. Right. The very first one that we are looking at here, and this is important, we're looking at a self-life management system. As we all know, pesticides, they degrade or the AI active ingredient as such, and let me I'll be more specific with the AI portion there, degrade over a certain period of time. And especially the storage conditions may vary because the same product, if you use the same product in the Western Cape and from Limpopo or from the Eastern Cape, or even if you go to KZN, the climate conditions there has a different impact with the ambient temperature that that product is being stored for. So we can't just take a blanket cover and say, well, this thing is still good for the next 2 years under that because the conditions vary from region to region. So stock rotation is very important. And we are looking at to ensure that the older stock is used or disposed or sold first. So if you have a farm store, you would use your older stock first. If you are directly into your sales, you would sell your older stock first. Right. In I'm going to also refer you all to go and look at the SANS 10206 because in your SANS code, and this is your SANS code, that would look at your inventory controls. The guidelines is there in the SANS code, although it is for warehousing. I'm going to come back into the SANS code to explain you a little bit more in depth in later slides. But this is the guidelines where this comes from at the end of the day. Why should we do this on the environmental safety side? It prevents leakages because some of your containers could deteriorate over time, or contamination, as I said, from deteriorating containers. Remember, we have stocks, especially in farms, that the season has passed, you were late with the spray, or you can't spray it anymore, and then the product sits. Or some of our products are leaking and breaking because of the continual use. The caps have been worn out. So there are various factors that we looked at can impact the environmental side. Operational efficiencies, and this is also related to because it reduces dead stocks and improves the warehouse space optimization. So the faster you can get your stock out or the faster you use your product, you have more space available to you at the end of the day as well. Right. I'll put up a table here. And this is basically just a recommendation or recommended stock rotation method that is currently being used throughout um, South Africa or throughout the world, basically, and such. So on my first column, and just let me just get my pointer out here. So we are looking at the first method on this one over here. We are looking at FIFO, which is first in, first out. And the description under that is the older stock is used first. The best use case, most commonly used, is Nigel for general pesticide inventory. We also got the other one, which is FIFO, which is first expiry, first out. Items closest to the expiry are prioritized and then also useful when expiry dates vary. So, in other words, the two of them are identical. One is working on expiry and one is working on your first in and first out basis. The third one over here is rarely used, but I've put it up because some of the industries still use it. It's last in, first out, where the new stock is used first, which is something that we, in our instances, we won't recommend because we would rely on FIFA or FIFO depending on the variability of the expiry dates and regulatory requirements in our scenarios. Okay. So those are the three principles over there. Please take note of the FIFO and FIFO, and then the other one, as we also would know, being known as LIFO. Right. Best practices for implementation. I can't stress this enough, and I'm going to go both ways on this one. I'm going to be looking at our commercial storage facilities or warehouses, and I'm going to look on farm storage facilities. Please, over time, with the handling and shifting and reorganizing and stacking of our products within our warehouses, it sometimes, not always, our labels get tarnished or damaged removing the pallet wrap, or sometimes the glue gets stuck onto the pallet wrap, removing the pallet wrapping, the label comes off, or the label gets tarnished. With farm usages as such as well, taking out the recommended dosage, the product still runs down the container. These labels sometimes are not clearly visible. Please ensure that your labels are eligible, it can be read and it's still visible, and one can see and determine what product is still within the container. This includes your batch numbers and your expiry dates, and especially your hazardous classifications, which is important for us these days. So please make sure that the product integrity is there, so it is still easy identifiable and you cannot mistake it for another product. Right. The use of digital inventory systems. There's automated systems with alerts coming up for expiry dates or the tracking of movement of your stock, and as I said earlier, as well as the replenishment of your stocks, because some of these newer systems are capable of doing this. I'm going to skip the next one because I want to do that one last. The scheduled regulatory audits or regular audits, these are not audits from an external auditor, but we are talking about here the physical stock verification, where you would actually go into your store, whether it's on a daily basis, weekly or monthly basis, can verify your stacking. Are your pallets stacked on a stable, solid pallets and the pallets aren't broken? Or are they stacked habitually and there's a possibility that it might topple over and fall, because this will lead to possible breakages, leaks, contamination, not within the store only, but also within to the environment. Right, so that is very important to go and have a look and see and have a look at that. Okay. The alignment of your stock, what you firstly click out and to verify that against what is on your system or your electronic or your digital inventory system. Are they balancing? What are the variants? Why are there variances? Because at the end of the day, it's costing you money. It's also a waste. It's a financial waste in this instance. We are saying separate incompatible products, prevent cross-contamination and chemical reactions. We also like to do your segregation of products, especially Act 36 talks about the segregation, where you separate your herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, and group them and store them together. Okay? So that is what we are looking at. We apply these basic principles and have your product segregation or compatibility of your products stacked together, or your various classes. You determine what system you're using. Use one system. Don't use two different systems for your entire warehouse. Okay, if you decide on a system, you're saying I'm categorizing everything by breaking them down into your various classes, or you're going to use them according to the classification of being a herbicide, pesticide, fungicide, and that is the one that you would adopt and use consistently throughout your warehouse or your warehouses as such. Okay, so those are the best practices to be implemented on these. Guys, I'm looking now here at management of the types of pesticide waste that is generated. And please, um, this is for all our warehouses such, surplus spray solutions and concentrate from trial materials. Some of these trial materials have not been named, but I mean, please, if they are waste, they are surplus, they need to be segregated and stored one side. So this is your type of waste that you get from your trial material as such. Contaminated containers, even if they are empty. So please, some of our products, and I'm going to look at your PET containers. Some of them, even if you triple rinse them, they are not cleansed 100%, some of them. And please, it's not always the case, but they are contaminated as such, cannot be reused. Right? And that is where we come in also with the residual of the pesticides that's left inside of these containers. Don't try and rinse out a chemical container and you're going to top it up with another product. Okay? And I mean, this is for farm use, especially on farm use. I know in our side, we are not allowed to decant in any way. Residuals from cleaning equipment, that is from tanks, brooms, hoses. This is more on farm side. And then spill cleanup materials, absorbents, PPE. If we had a little spill or there was some area that we needed to clean up, where do we put this waste? Where does this waste go to? Right? And then the last one, we're looking at obsolete pesticides, and these are either expired, they are banned products, or damaged products as such. They are all deemed as obsolete. Please, guys, this obsolete stock need to be clearly marked as obsolete, must be segregated from your good stock, and I'm going to use the term good stock as such, and clearly identified, and they cannot be stored forever and a day. They need to be off your premises, and I think under correction, it needs to be off within the next 3 months as such. Okay, so those are the types of waste that is generally, and please, this is a general base. Um, Pesticide waste that I got from the warehousing in the industry, and that is what we would be currently looking at. Okay. We are then now looking at your sustainability of the integrity of your proactive approach to this. What do you do? What do we need to do? Um, Look, we are saying come again with the stock rotation. It involves the management of your pesticide event to prevent obsolescence or obsolete stock or wastage as such. And this includes first expired, first out method to ensure the older stock or soon to be expired stock to be sold out first. And this is really critical and it's important that we do that. Imagine getting in the stock. And this is where it starts. Once you get in the stock, please, I know all of us are always rushed for time. We are lazy. We take the shortcuts. We don't want to clear out that entire stacking block, move it away from the wall, and pack the fresh stock against the wall and removing those 6 or 7 pallets that's in front. But those are the actual best practices to ensure that the stock rotation works and that the older product is at the front, your first pallet that you can lift with your forklift or basically pick as such with ease. Why do we do it? Well, as I said, waste and reduces cost. And this is the critical part of everything is the cost at the end of the day associated with the wastages of stock. The rand dollar has a huge effect on our business in Southern Africa at the present moment. I mean, if we use FIFO, or FIFO, which is the first expiry, first out method. This ensures that products are sold or used before the expiry date, avoiding dead stock and the associated cost of the disposals. I mean, we will hear later on, there would be another webinar with regards to disposal or the PRO, as you all know it. It's this cost for transport for these obsolete stocks. And still the disposal stocks for this is astronomical. Just bear in mind that the disposal cost does not include the transportation cost. You still have to pay for that. So if you want to remain profitable, please ensure that you apply the stock rotation method. At the end of the day, the bottom line, your financial bottom line, comes into play. And we all know what that means at year end. And we're all looking at that, is it now 13th, 14th, or 15th check? I don't know. I've been so long out of this race that it affects the profitability and the sustainability of any business at the end of the day. So if you don't apply these basic principles, the financial losses impacts the entire sustainability of your business as such, whether you're a big or small business, because nobody can afford to write off millions of rands or hundreds of thousands of rands of stock due to wastages that we didn't sell it on time. Right? That is why I said it's critical here that your stock rotation is really important for you to do. Okay? How to implement pesticide stock rotation. We said use FIFO. Implement the system where the oldest stock or stock with the closest expiry date is used and sold first. I think that is very self-explanatory. Monitor your expiry dates. Please, please, members, keep an eye on the production date, the use by date or whatever. Right? We call it the DOM, date of manufacturing, date of expiry. Please have a look at those dates and the best before dates. Whatever is imprinted on there, have a look at it and manage your stock effectively. How do we do this? By, as I said, your monthly and weekly stock counts, or daily if it's a small warehouse facility. What does it entail? Go down through your stock. You physically have to verify your batches. Look at your batch 1, 2, 3. Check what is your expiry date on batch 1, 2, 3. Batch 1, 2, 3, 4, the expiry date would be in the next month. Please sequence your stock according to those expiry dates. And the sequence, I'm meaning, is about your stacking and storage of this, where the first expired product is stacked in the front. And you can select it from the front. Rotate the active ingredients. This goes for the same thing here for pest management. Rotate the active ingredients you use for treatments. And this also goes for the same to your manufacturing plants. If you are looking and you have active ingredients, that these are also used first. Right. This is crucial. Why? Because of the buildup of resistance at the end of the day. Maintain proper storage. Please, and this is important for us, store pesticides in locked, secure areas away from children, animals, and the other one that I should have put in there is feeds and unauthorized access, and to ensure the floors are impervious. In other words, the floors are solid, they are floated, they are leveled, and they are stacked properly. If you have porous floors and stuff, it's more susceptible to an environment impact if there is some accidental spillage or something of the sort, where this product can easily penetrate into the ground or flow. Right? The same thing with your roofing. If your roof has got holes, something can happen on a Friday afternoon after everybody's locked up, going home for the weekend. The product has fallen over, it rains, and that rain, and as we all know, some of our products or chemicals has an adverse reaction to water, and you're sitting there with a environmental nightmare and that water leaks into the water table or the water washes down into stormwater. So these little accidents or incidents may occur. Right. So please ensure that your storage facilities also complies with SANS 10206 as prescribed in that SANS code. Use inventory management tools. Right? So there are inventory dashboards. I'm not going to prescribe any particular system for you, but please find the best fit, as I said, for your business and for your organization. It's no use buying a multi-million rand system if you're having a small farmhouse facility or something, unless you've got a big farm and you're going to expand and have this huge amount of inventory. Then yes, you decide what system are you going to use. And the criteria on that would then be on your stock expiry date, which expire in the next first 3 months. What is it going to expire in 6 months or whatever the case may be? What do you do when you find stock that is going to expire soon, or you have stock that is left over? Guys, it's very easy. Get in contact if you are into sales. Please do your sales, sell this product off immediately. Do some sort of campaign, get a campaign done, or make a package deal where you are selling off these products easily and getting it out. On the farmer level side, if you can't spray it out, if it can't be returned, then unfortunately you are stuck with it. And then you are sitting with the scenario of having an obsolete stock within your area. And then the best practice for that would be then to have this disposed of. And as I said, the cost of disposal is very, very expensive with regards to this. Okay. We are looking at waste segregation. This involves the separation of your waste, and they are going to be classified here as hazardous waste and non-hazardous material, and this is to prevent cross-contamination and also to ensure safety and comply with the environmental regulations as such. We've got an overview here for you at the bottom, just to give you the examples, the type of pesticide waste and what we'd considered as hazardous waste. It includes expired pesticide, contaminated containers, spill residues, and this is the spill residues, as I said, from the absorbent or peat or whatever material, and then the and or banned substances as such that we've got. Right. This could also in some times with the farm include chemical that we have also got. Non-hazardous waste, packaging materials, and please, this needs to be clean packaging material or boxes or something, especially on farm when we do packaging of material or of our produce. There's packaging material, clean plastic, cardboard, and then also general office waste as such. So please just remember, if you look at your non-hazardous waste again, we are looking at clean packaging materials, clean plastic, cardboard, and general office waste. Empty containers often considered as hazardous until they are properly triple rinsed and decontaminated. Please, members, CropLife SA, we have the registered PRO in there. I mean, we have stress in many forums and in many of our PRO forums have stressed about the principles of triple rinsing. If you're unsure of it, go to our container management, go to the CropLife website, go and look under the container management. All the procedures are there for triple rinsing. Just on the note, and that it is still found today. And I'm going to appeal to our members that is here, especially the crop advisors or our distributors. Please encourage our farmers when they have or collected it or going to collect or be part of our PRO, please to ensure that the farmers please triple rinse their containers before returning them to the collection sites. It is very important because, I mean, at the end of the day, the transportation of these products that has not been rinsed and that is lying, you are going to cause some sort of disaster by a spillage or contamination. Right. So please, they need to be triple rinsed effectively, please, to ensure the integrity or the safety of this product at the end of the day or of that container. The segregation guidelines separate your waste streams. In other words, clearly label bins for each category. In other words, hazardous, recyclable, general, and organic if applicable. Please, organic, what do we mean here by organic? Some of our warehouses and depots, we have skips and bins. We also have gardens, we have lawns and stuff like that. Please, your garden waste or your lawn waste are considered to be organic waste, and that goes into a separate bin. Right? Otherwise, you're going to pay an astronomical price if you are dumping in your general waste or your organic waste into a hazardous bin because the pricing structures are different. Right? There are costs associated with all of these. So please, ensure that you use your proper bins. It's the ease of segregation and also the cost associated with the disposal of these because you are going to get the disposal certificate of this, right? And I mean, it works by kilograms. So the more general waste you throw in your hazardous bin, your service provider, your HAZMAT or your certified HAZMAT service provider is going to be considering as hazardous waste because you put it into the hazardous waste bin. Triple rinse containers, as I said, as per the SANS 10206, the containers must be triple rinsed before disposal or recycling. And that is recycling part, as I said, even before you are taking it to your regional or your local recycler that is part of our PERO system. Avoid mixing or to mix pesticide waste with general waste, as I said. Um, Besides the cost there, we are also looking at a safety factor because of the different reactions these chemicals could have with one another. And then the dedicated storage areas. Hazardous waste should be stored in a secure, ventilated, and bundled area away from the active pesticide stock. Please, I'm going to repeat this part because this is very important. You need to have a dedicated storage area where your hazardous waste should be stored in a secure, ventilated, and bundled area away from your active or from your good pesticide stock. Please, it's not good enough just to put a piece of paper, A4 paper, and write on there obsolete stock or waste or stuff. There should be an inventory there. The stock must also be clearly marked as obsolete stock. Cordon the area off, put in the cordoning tape if needs be, and everybody to stay clear from that or secured area. The bunding, it's important unless your entire facility is completely bundled, and this would prevent if some of the integrity of your containers are in jeopardy. You aren't sure how stable these containers are, right? So please, that is why the bunding comes in there, and this is another preventative cause also then for a spillage or contamination to happen throughout your area, right? Compliance and documentation. And as I said, I was going to explain to you more on our SANS code. As everybody is fully aware of SANS, by this time everybody should be fully aware of SANS 10206. And what we are talking about here at SANS 10206, what are we looking at, ladies and gentlemen? It covers the handling, the storage, and disposal. Okay? It covers the handling, storage, and disposal protocols for pesticides. So please, this code, the SANS code, it aims to minimize the risk for the users at the end of the day when handling these pesticides in the storage facilities and also for the disposal side of this. We have harped on this on many times. So please look at this, the documentation or the record keeping for waste generation. And what is very important, what are we looking at when if there's a waste generation? We are looking at your disposal certificates. that has been issued by your certified hazmat service provider. It must be a licensed hazmat service provider or disposal service provider to give you a document in saying your waste has been safely disposed. You need to have that for record purposes. You are looking also at the segregation of your product and then the disposal activities for the inspections and auditing that you have done. Keep records of your stock counts. Keep records of your sales, right? We are looking at your record keeping, especially for your expiry dates and stuff, so that you can easily, with ease of access, identify your near expiring products as such. I have touched on this. Please, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. You'll find this coming out of NEMA or more out of our NEMA, where we need to use a licensed hazmat disposal service provider. Partner with a certified hazardous waste handlers for collection and disposal of your products. Okay, you cannot just haphazardly take any product and dispose of it, take it to the landfill, and that is the end of it. It doesn't work that way. Right? With the regulations, it's from cradle to grave. You still have that total responsibility with that. So you need to ensure, whether it's on farm level, whether you are the crop advisor, or even from manufacturing to supplier, if this product is deemed out of spec and you cannot blend it anymore or run it into your plant, and you need to dispose of it, you need to have this disposal certificate as such for these products going forward. Okay. I hope that one is very clear, because up to this day, still people still ask, can we take our products to a landfill site and have it disposed of there? Okay. We're looking at safety measures, and please, we're touching here on HSE side. As we all know from the Occupational Health and Safety Act, PPE or personal protective equipment is required for handling any pesticide waste or for handling any pesticide and within the pesticide facility. Please, the question have been raised to us, what must we buy? Where must we buy it? Please, is this all of your PPE requirements? You decide what sense qualifications you need to do. It is prescribed on your chemicals as well. You can do the total risk assessment or get somebody to do this risk assessment for you to buy the necessary PPE and appropriate PPE as such. It's no using, as I came to one facility, I'm not going to mention any names, buying kitchen gloves, those yellow ones. And if you, after you've picked up and carried 3 or 4 drums, your thumb starts sticking out of the glove because they are so thin, because they were bought at the general store somewhere down the road. Please, guys, your PPE needs to be adequately spec'd for the purposes that you're going to be using it for. These are from overalls, whether it's 1-piece, 2-piece, Tyvek suits, and whatever equipment that is deemed necessary for you to do this. Spill kits must be available and accessible in all waste storage facility zones. And this spill kits would depend on the size or the capacity of your warehouse as such. Point number 3, very important. And I skipped it on the other slide where I'll see it, I'll come back to this one, is training. Staff should be trained in segregation protocols or all emergency protocols within your facility, and this includes documented mock drills. Please ensure your staff are all briefed and all trained in your necessary safe operating procedures and all the aspects of your operations within your warehouse as such. It's no use having something written up against the wall, an evacuation procedure or a spillage procedure, and your staff is not trained or they do not know what's going on. It has just been put up there as a nice to have and just to show and pass the audit that it is in place. So if the staff is being tested and questioned, they need to know what are the evacuation procedures. They need to know where are the SDSs. They need to know where the spill kits are. How does the spill kits work? Why do I need a respirator instead of a mask? Why I need to use latex gloves instead of leather gloves? So please, members, this is something that we are all lacking at the present moment in time, or some of our facilities lacking, that our staff are not adequately trained. They're also not trained by an accredited service provider, and nor as some of our staff acknowledge our SOPs or the SOPs that we've put into place or we present to auditors. And when the staff are questioned about it, they don't know about these protocols. It's embarrassing to go through an audit and you ask and then you tell, and then you hear we told you what it's about. Yeah, but you just asked me to sign the piece of paper. You didn't know what you're signing for. So please let us not just get into the habit, the tick box exercise, and let us start doing this to get it signed off. Talking about the tick box exercise, please, that is why CropLife South Africa, we have generated for you all. What we are currently updating is all our checklist and stuff regarding these things. So all of these are covered in our checklist. So please ensure that you have these protocols in place and the staff is trained and know about it and how to use the equipment accordingly, please. Okay? The environmental impact of this, as I said once again, proper segregation. It minimizes, please, it minimizes soil and water contamination. In other words, if you're going to throw your non-triple rinse containers into a cage and the caps are off and there's leakage and seepage, that stuff is just going to go into the groundwater or contaminate the area where this is being stored or kept. The protection of pollinators, and guys, we are looking here specifically at our bees becoming a major problem throughout Southern Africa with the major losses of plenty of hives throughout and monthly because of practices that is not kosher. And then the most important one is the human health risks. Guys, it can save lives. We all know about the negativity that is being broadcast out of there with the pesticide industry. So please, if you look at my last point there as well, preventing the accidental poisoning which may lead to fatalities. That is why we are not encouraging our empty containers to be recycled and to be used for water purposes, or even for containers in water for our livestock as such. Please recycle your empty containers, send it to our certified CropLife recyclers. It is, as I said, go to your container management site on our website, go and look for in your area. It is set up specific. There's a nice new map out for your areas throughout Southern Africa. Look for your nearest person, contact them. If there's not, please reach out to our PRO champion, Dr. Gerard Verdoring. His details are on the system, or any one of us, myself or Resh, and we will guide you to the nearest person or to guide you to Gerard to advise you accordingly. Right. Improper disposal can lead to long-term ecological damage. And guys, what we are talking about here, we bury them. The practice of burying our obsolete stocks or our empty containers is still ongoing. The burning of our plastic containers is still ongoing. It was just about, I think, 2 months ago, and this was also revealed to us. I'm not going to mention the provinces, but in our responsible use training that we are conducting on farms and stuff, these practices are still going forward up to this day. I'm going to appeal again to our crop advisors, to our distributors, and even to our suppliers if you are online. Please ensure that the entire supply chain is fully aware of our PRO system, the responsible care and recycling of our empty pesticide containers. That is why the PRO is set up, therefore. We are all supposed to be ambassadors for this. We are all supposed to preach the same message to our members. Please be responsible. All of these are leading to tarnish the industry. There's only one earth left. So please ensure that you are using our certified recyclers or suitably licensed or certified hazmat disposal companies for your obsolete stocks as such, please. Okay. Key waste management practices. Guys, please, these are key. This is not mine. We did, myself and the rest, we did a summary. What are the core stuff that we are looking for? And storage and containment. Please use clearly labeled or leak-proof containers for waste as such. Storage in a designated hazmat area and separated from usable stock. Yes, this is a repeat, but we are doing the summary and it is important. Because with all the exercises and stuff that CropLife has undertaken for this year, and I'm talking under correction, I think we removed plus minus, I think 300 tons of obsolete stock thus far. We still need to preach and practice the same principles that I'm repeating myself in now. Please label, and that is important, it's for identification. For my safety, that's going to verify that. For your certified licenses, hazmat contractor to certify the product and to verify the product that they are taking away, and even for your safety as well. Store in a designated hazardous area, clearly identified and separate from usable stock. Follow the SANS 10206 for layout and containment protocols. It's all there. The SANS code is there. Please get yourself a copy. Familiarize yourself with a copy and with this act. Or SANS code, sorry. Spill response protocols. Please, as I said with the training, please ensure that everybody is familiar with your spill or containment or contamination response protocol for your warehouse facility, whether it's commercial or distributor, crop advisor, or farm. Equip warehouses with a professional spill kit. And in your spill kit, we are looking at the absorbents, which either vermiculite or Arabic gum that's in there. And these are absorbents. Polyethylene bags so that you can put your stuff in. A scoop or a spade, which is part of your spill kit. A broom. A container boom strip. Duct tape. And labeled drums as such. Okay, wherever you're going to put this in, if you're going to put it into the wheelie bin that comes in, label that wheelie bin as in waste. And you can put a small description in there, which product you cleaned up, so that they can know what type of waste is in there, or what that peat or whatever was used has been used to clean up that particular product or chemical that is you have cleared up. Ensure staff wear full PPE. Depending on the scenario, depending on the severity of this, Tyvek suits, respirators, neoprene gloves, goggles, face shield, dust mask, and boots. If you're only going to do a containment and it's too big for you, please get your suitable spill response team or your certified spill response teams out to come and do this for you. Absorb spill, seal containment, and once again label them as hazardous waste. Disposal procedure: dispose of pesticides through a licensed hazmat waste contractor. Never reuse the contaminated containers for domestic purposes again. And I mean, here we are basically talking about our empty containers or any chemical contaminated products or materials or waste materials as such. Follow the waste classification and management regulations and norms of landfill disposals as such. But I mean, please, this I had to put this in because there's some of our materials that does go to landfill, and these are not our chemical materials. Okay, this would be our organic waste and our general waste as such, because we are covering all forms of waste. Ladies and gentlemen, farm waste management, and we are looking here on farm. In South Africa, where farming intersects with the biodiversity and water conservation, waste to manage our waste effectively can protect our ecosystems, improve soil health, and even boost profitability. And at the end of the day, that is the key that we want to do. We want to boost profitability and sustainability of our businesses at the end of the day. And this is why we are doing what we are doing today. I just wanted to just add in, if I may just jump a slide back, with our spill response protocols over here. CropLife South Africa has put out into 2023 a spill management and decontamination protocols for small-scale pesticide spills in warehouses, depots, and stores. This is also still available on our website. And if you have a look, and if you go to that website and you go and look at the slides in there, you would see there that it covers the professional and safe spill management, the 5 components that is in there. The spill management, specialized protection equipment, to remain calm and collected management at site, decontamination of the site after cleaning, and then the responsible and legal disposal of the contaminated materials. So those are the 5 things it covers. It covers also what is supposed to be in your spill kit. It covers your PPE that is required, and then also your cleanup protocols and stuff that has been done. Right? How to clean it up, what to clean up, and then obviously you can go and look at that. So if you go to the CropLife website under obsolete stocks, and you will find all of those things in there on our website as well. Okay. Sorry about that. I just forgot to come up with that one. So if we go on to this one, and if we're looking at farms, especially on the farm, our organic waste, and what we're looking at our farm level, we're looking at crop residues, animal manure, or spoiled produce, right? Our chemical waste that we're looking for on farm is pesticide containers, expired chemicals, and as fertilizers as such. We're also looking then at plastic and packaging, which is seed bags, irrigation pipe, silage wrap. And then we're looking at hazardous waste. We're looking here at our used oils, batteries, and within our veterinary pharmaceutical supplies as such, because remember, we are also now looking specifically on farms. So your farm has got 4 key types of waste. It would be organic, chemical, plastic and packaging, and then your hazardous waste as such. Right. Just let me admit here because this is all over my presentation. Sorry about that. Best practice for waste management. And please, ladies and gentlemen, this one is on farm. And please, we said we're doing both. So we're looking at composting, where we turn our residual crop waste and manures into nutrient-rich compost. This reduces the usage of landfill as such, or improves soil fertility. We're also looking at our IPM, which is our integrated pest management side, which supposed to minimize our chemical waste usage and doing by more biological controls and crop rotation. We're looking at also recycling and repurposing, the reuse of plastic containers for storage if safe. And please, we are not talking about our empty pesticide containers, whatever it comes in with our feeds and stuff like that. We are talking about feed containers or any stuff where our foodstuffs that's come in that we can repurpose and reuse, right? Convert crop waste into animal feed or biofuels. Water efficient irrigation. And we all know that South Africa is going with our droughts, the water pressure that we've got, and I'm talking about the shortage or scarcity of water, where we can use a drip or micro sprinkler system to reduce runoff and also the chemical leachage, because the more, if you overwater, this chemicals leach off and the runoff to that could be extreme as well. Hazardous waste protocol, store chemicals in certified facilities, and the certified facilities, we are looking at our SANS 10206, and especially in our SANS 10206, if you're looking at that, with it talks about authorization or permissions, you need to obtain the authority from your local municipalities for your storage facilities as such. The triple rinse pesticide container and follow the disposal guidelines as well. It also comes within our SANS, but as I said, all these guidelines come out of our CropLife South Africa PRO as well. It is well within our system. So please refer to our container management site. It is there. And I mean, this has been discussed through many of our PRO forums as well as our stewardship and compliance forums as such. Number 6, zero waste initiatives adopt circular systems, in other words, crop residues for mulching or for bedding, and then also our crop rotation strategies on farms as such. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our presentation. I don't know, Aresh, if there's anything that you needed to add. We are very short and sweet. Most of our webinars that we are looking for going forward will be approximately within the hour, 60 minutes, or just a bit over than that. But for me, thank you very much for your attendance today. And then I'm going to be handing over to Aresh.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you, Quade. I thought that was an excellent presentation with great insights coming out of it, Quade. Yeah, I think you nailed it with the timing as well, Quade. I think going into summer now, attention spans shortened somewhat. So I think that was great information communicated in an hour, Quade. So thank you for that. All attendees online, anyone who has any questions, please feel free to type it in the Q&A chat box or into the chat box, and myself and Quade will attend to any of those questions. So we will give you guys a few minutes to type any questions that you may have. Unfortunately, everyone online, we cannot unmute mics to ask questions online. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. But with that said, as I mentioned, please type in your questions into one of the chat boxes. Quade, just from my side, Quade, I think what you noted that was quite key was stock management. For me, at the very start, I think you nailed it with that one, going right to the heart of the problem in generating waste, particularly at your warehousing and depot levels, as well as your pesticide stores on farms. And I think the way you touched on the rotations and how that's key and the principles that need to be followed. I do hope that everyone online today took note of those principles. And if it's not being implemented currently, I do hope that going forward, it will be implemented following this webinar. What I particularly liked, Quade, was your example of dumping in the wrong bins. And I think this is where we bring in the complacency part of things, And also, Quade, just to tie in with what you said with the employees, they may receive training, a tick box exercise, but they don't quite understand why they must do it. And this can lead to complacency in itself as well. So I think those were great examples you touched on, as well as the potential consequences, particularly in terms of the costs that would be involved. So those were nice, simple examples, but I think they hit the nail on the head there, Quade. I think with the spills, Quade, as well, the PPE is a big part of it. But more importantly, Quade, and I want everyone online to take note of this, is Quade mentioned a protocol. It's not enough today just to have a spill kit in your pesticide storage facility. That's not going to be enough, and neither will that be enough for an inspector? You need to have a protocol on how the contents of that spill kit is to be utilized, or a standard operating procedure signed off by the responsible person of that facility. So please, everyone online, anyone managing pesticide storage facilities, take note of that key point that Quade covered there with regards
Yeah,
to having a protocol or your standard operating procedure. And then
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, Quade, yeah, I think also, Quade, the way you distinguished between waste at the commercial level and waste on the farm level, I think that was also key to understand that there will be different waste streams coming from different levels in terms of operations of pesticide storage facilities and how you group them. I thought that was fantastic as well. And then finally, Quade, what I think at the end of the day was the take home message for me is that where you implement proper stock rotation, you take note of the principles covered in SANS 10206 with regards to storage of pesticides, as well as the handling and disposal within pesticide storage facilities. You adhere to OHS principles, and where the training is effective and ultimately implemented by the workers themselves, ultimately you boost profitability and sustainability. But not just that, Quade, you also have the added and most important benefits of reducing potential risks to the environment as well as human health. So I think there was a lot of important information coming out of you there. And I think the way and the time in which you said it was absolutely fantastic. So that's it from me, Quade. I'll let you make any further comments. I'll just check to see if there's any questions in the interim.
Yeah, I just wanted to say if you do acquire your spill kits as such, your service provider, they give you within your package, they will offer you training for free, and that includes your staff, and they will actually give you a little certificate that you have done the necessary training. So it is important if you do purchase your spill kits and they do the delivery, they will bring one of their own spill kits as well, where they would actually open up the spill kit and they would actually do and I will call it an induction training on what your spill kit comprises and then how to use it accordingly. They will do a little mock demo for you with their own kit. So I mean that would kill two birds with one stone. I mean your service provider that does the delivery, ensure your staff is available on that date, and they will do the training for you for free. Yeah, I
Great.
know.
Thank you, Quade.
Yeah, Calvin had a question, but he did not.
Yeah.
Said, please, can you give us the slides to go through again later and show to our clients, please?
Quite on this one, Harry. On that note, there the slides will be made available to CropLife SA members via the CPD system for them to complete their assessments. You can access this recorded webinar once uploaded onto our YouTube channel, so you can keep checking our YouTube channel, and you would be able to access it thereafter. Sherry, but in terms of sending the slides, unless you're a CropLife member with access to the CPD system, we cannot do that. So, but like I said, Sherry, this recorded webinar in itself will be available and uploaded on our YouTube channel, and I think that's a great deal in itself. You'll also get not only the slides but Quade's presentation as well. With that said, everyone, I don't see any other questions, but Quade, I'm just going to put a question to you.
Yeah.
And this is given my vast respect, because I think anyone who knows Quade online here, and there's a lot of industry members that are online as well, they would know that Quade has managed at the highest levels when it comes to warehousing, storage, particularly of your hazardous products. Quade has vast experience throughout his career. So Quade, just on the point of spills,
Yes.
all right, generally a spill kit would be available to clean up minor spillages per se. But could you just let everyone online know, Quade, what would firstly constitute a major spill? And then what would be the procedures to follow with regards to a major spill in terms of reporting to the relevant government department? Thank you, Quade.
Well, Arish, first of all, it depends on what product is actually being spilt at the present moment. So, and I'm going to mention a few names here quickly. So, if you have, let's say, a 20-liter or 5-liter paraquat drop on the floor and it splashes, and okay, nobody was actually contaminated with it, but because we know this is one of our hazardous products, um, you first need to cordon off the area and then get your certified team or your response team that you've got within your area then to clean up that spill and use the normal kit. So anything that is, and what we said, anything below 100 liters, and I mean, I'm talking about now from our big warehouse facilities where we come from, we would deem that as a minor spillage. Anything over 100 liters as such or more, we would deem as a major spillage. But as I said, if you look at your facility size and you've got a small area, 100 liters would be a lot for your area. So you need to determine your floor or your bunding capacity space with regards to a major or a minor spill for your facility. Perhaps 100 liters would be a lot for you. So anything from 20 to 40 liters in a small warehouse, I would say would be adequate as a minor spill, but anything larger than that would also then go. But as I said, if you have volatile product as such and you do not feel comfortable with it, please do not take a chance and go in there and go and clean it. Rather do and contract your certified spill response or cleanup teams to respond out to such a scenario. Rather be safe than sorry. I don't know if that answers you, Aresh.
Great. Yes, thanks, Quade. That does answer me, Quade. And I think
Mm,
what our attendees online as well will note that it's not a one shoe size fits all. It
yeah.
depends on your facility. It depends on on your safety measures implemented in the facility and also the volume of stock in that facility. So I think those are great points that you've noted there, Quade. Quaid, I do not see any more questions. And just to remind everybody who is registered on the CropLife SACPD system, that the assessment for this webinar is loaded under category 3 on that system. And I think it's a fairly straightforward webinar. If all of you have listened carefully that are registered on the system, I would say 100% should be the order of the day. And I think you would agree with that, Quade. So from myself, I think we can bring to a close this webinar. It's been great having everybody online. And do feel free to contact Quade or myself via email or cell should any of you have any further queries. Quade, is there anything you would like to say before I close this webinar?
No, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for the attendance. Much appreciated. I mean, no, this is a busy and our silly season. Appreciate the attendance as usual, and thank you very much for supporting us. When we hope to see you at our stewardship forum, which should be now in November, and I think it's the 6th of November, buddy. Am I right to that?
Yes, correct, Quade.
So please, guys, our stewardship forum is then on the 6th of November. Please be sure to join that one. That would be the last one for our calendar year. And then also the 18th of November would be the final compliance forum for the years as well. And we're looking forward to your attendance and support in that. Thank you very much, members. Have a blessed day and take care. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, everyone. Have a great day further. Cheers from all of us at Crop Life.